very exciting news. If you happen to see my last community update post, we, I should say, are expecting a little one. It'll be the first time. It's also a time where we're finishing the house. A lot of stuff is coming together, and it is also time I need to step away from my 911 as it is not the most practical vehicle. I've been testing out a ton of EVs over the years. Obviously, staying in the Porsche camp could be a possibility, so this is the brand new electric Macan. I think it looks like a pretty good pairing.
I feel like Kobe 24, you know I had to ice my wrist. I've been balling since a young, you know I had to stack my chips. Bending corners, 12 personas, know we had to take
And of course, the minute we start filming, it starts raining, but we will still make it work. So to the Macan, it still looks very Porsche-esque. It looks like it's the hybrid between like the ICE, the older version, mixed with Taycan. So we have like the Taycan-inspired headlights. They're separated, they're four. Pretty iconic for their electric range. If you actually take a little peek at my GT3, that has like the four circular ones, the 992.2 GT3, which maybe thinking about, it does have back seats, has the updated headlights. They kind of look more like this, but this exact spec. So this is the base or the entry-level Macan. It's painted in this gorgeous, like if I were to spec one myself, a Venturine green metallic. I think I've got that color right. It's in like the Legend section. It's got the upgraded 21-inch Aero wheels that will help with range. We'll talk about that. Of course, you've got electric badging on the side. You have this running board that goes across Macan, which once again has been around since the ICE. You can also get this painted. You can get it in carbon fiber. I believe this one is standard. Going to the back of the car, you've got the first charging port. It's got this sloped C-pillar to give it a bit more of like a coupe design, a bit less usable space, but it actually has more than the ICE variant. It is a bigger car. It looks chunkier. What are your guys' thoughts on it? And of course, on the back, once you get to here, you've got that traditional like light bar that runs across. I call it like the RoboCop look. So on the back, you've got the raised lettering and of course the model designation. So the base Macan, that does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.7 seconds. That's with launch control, 265 kilowatts. That's 355 horsepower. As a Cayenne Turbo GT kind of rolls by into my spot, this is considerably faster than the gas variant. It's still got a really aggressive front end that isn't completely blocked off with a lot of other electric cars, since technically you don't need any cooling. You can see the different light systems, and this time, because it's electric, we've got a little front hood, a frunk, just like my GT3. And obviously this doesn't take any other fluids other than the windshield wiper stuff. But the main reason for getting a car like this is what you see in the back. I mentioned that there's more space, 50 liters more, already beginning my dad journey. So we've got the stroller in the back, a backpack, and got a projector in the back, which I'm bringing to the new house. And on the other side of the projector, we've got Link Seat, who I just took out before this. So it's usable, it actually has space. It's a usable car. So instead of doing this entire review around how dynamic the car is, how well it handles, I'm gonna show you like what I actually use it for, like the practicality of this. A lot of soccer dads in the making will be using things like this. And imagine all this stuff fitting in there. There is no chance. I'm gonna go take you to the house, unload some of this new stuff, and I'll just tell you how it works as a daily driver, which is exactly what this car does. Okay, so hot take here, initial first impressions. So when I first picked up the car, it was just under 500 kilometers of range. I'm gonna talk about range like later on. We're now sitting at just over. I believe the range here is over that 500 kilometer mark, which is great. Obviously way better than say like the first gen Taycan. I feel like electric cars have finally gotten there where you don't feel limited by the range. Like I said, the first drive on the way to the house, we're sitting on the highway right now. Surprisingly, not as much traffic as I thought in Toronto. This is like where you're gonna be using the car most of the time. Hanging out on the highway, commuting, doing your daily trips. I mean, if you took this to a track, all props to you. That would be super dope. But kind of sitting in the cabin, what I've noticed, it's gotten roomier. Like I feel there's more room here than the first gen Macan. It has an 86 millimeter longer wheelbase. Most of that is actually found in the back for rear passenger seating. So the interior spec here, it's what I would personally get. Is it the most child-friendly one? We've got like the two-tone leather package, so it's like the chalk or the cream seating, all leather, which is great to clean. We now have updated controls. Everything is a lot techier, especially from that first gen Macan, which was showing its age a bit. It did have some of the nice tactile buttons, which here There is some gloss black on the main little touch panel here. Still some nice tactile buttons, which I'm a fan of. And of course, the full digital dash. So when you're on the Porsche configurator, you can go out to your heart's content on options. You can get a passenger screen on the side, like kind of where you guys are. We've got the main screen right here, which is great. So this is running off of a new like Android operating system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course. Super responsive screen, which is nice. We've got the digital dash cluster here. Maybe a bit more old school. I do miss like an analog tachometer. It is what it is. You can change all the functions with the steering wheel, and as we do finally hit some traffic, that is pretty classic. The little gear selector shifter and the drive mode functions on the steering wheel, which you can change. So right now I am sitting in normal. You can change that to sport, sport plus. There's an off-road mode. I'll talk about driving dynamics on the second day. One thing I have noticed though, which is kind of cool, there's an ambient light package, which you can change themes. You can change the color of how everything looks. But for example, say like I'm trying to make a left-hand turn right now, this little light bar indicator now flashes like orange to tell you that there's a car beside you. So that's kind of cool. This has got a full panoramic roof. We've got deviated stitching. We've got the Bose sound system. We even have the Porsche logo embossed into the headrest, which I know is another option. You can like easily tack on $25,000, $30,000 in options. That's the Porsche configurator, but we will continue to sit through some traffic. I'm gonna literally turn this, check this out. Is this safe? We're sitting in traffic. And that right there, that's a first gen Taycan Turbo. Okay. And just arriving at the house, some really good news actually, so check this out. If you actually look, that is our final piece of siding that is gonna go all along the garage, all along up there. We have literally been waiting forever for this stuff. And of course, the Macan. And obviously while filming, I lost the magnet. So this is gonna be the ultimate tech move right here. I'm gonna clip the mic to the back of the projector box. And that is how you do it. Okay, so projector delivered downstairs to the golf sim. So this is actually the main reason right here. That is a home charging station, why we're kind of eyeing an EV. It makes sense. So every night you can imagine the Macan, whatever car I end up getting, just pulls into here. We can take this, plug it in, and it charges. So clutch. Little wave and it opens. So for charging, it's being really improved. So the official spec numbers, you're getting up to 641 kilometers of range. Obviously that varies how fast you're driving it, which mode that you're in, the temperature here in Canada gets super cold in the winter. But when I picked it up, like I said, over that 500 kilometer mark, which has been really improved. It's gotten a lot better, but I would say the biggest thing is the actual charging speeds. So now we can get from 10 to 80% in 21 minutes. And if you can hear that buzzing, someone in my lovely neighborhood is blowing leaves or doing some sort of yard work. So that is a homeowner life. And with that charging speeds, you can get 261 kilometers in just 10 minutes of charging up, thanks to its 800 volt architecture. So you can DC fast charge up to 270 kilowatts. That yard work is just so loud. I can't get over it. But it really depends the type of charger, if you have like access to a supercharger. I know that our infrastructure has definitely gotten better in Canada. There are more at least level 2 stations. But like I said, if you have that charger at home, that's gonna be the easiest thing. You drive home, you plug it in, you sleep at night, you can set it to optimally charge, and then when you're ready in the morning, it's fully juiced up. So that is the end of day one. I'm actually gonna help out and put some of this material inside. Obviously, I wish the Macan could do some of the heavy lifting, but I don't think that yard work is gonna stop anytime soon. Let's load up the siding. I swear to God, he's just trolling me. He just stopped. We're like making eye contact. He's like, is that still recording? I'm gonna blow my leaf blower. Already making enemies on the street. Day 2. We drove a bit out of the city now. This is where I get to test this car out, and as we take a bit of a tighter turn, this is also where I've changed from, you know, regular, I guess like driving mode, regular. I've now changed this to sport. I've really noticed the car like firm up and become a better of a drive. You can also maybe hear a bit of that Porsche sound, gives it that like e-tron-like sound. Obviously, you can choose to disable that sound if you want, but I think it gives it a nice touch. It almost gives it that extra visceral feel for how you're driving. And now that we've got a bit of open road, it's got rear weight distribution. This is, of course, rear wheel drive. You can obviously spec it like the Macan 4 for four-wheel drive, but it gives it a bit of fun. Like, I'm sure if you were that person to take your Macan to the track, you could throw this thing around. It feels good. It's like effortless. It's smooth. Even though I'm in sport, it's stiffer, but that air suspension still gives it that nice, soft ride. Porsche steering has always been good, or super direct. And yes, now that I'm having a bit of fun, I see that the little, EV meter for the range is going down. I charge it overnight at home, which I think you should do. I'm still not getting any of that weird range anxiety that I've had before, which is nice. And obviously compared to, say, my GT3, obviously I'm not sitting as low, but compared to a lot of other EV SUVs, I feel like I'm still sitting like low enough that it feels like sporty, it feels engaging. It's a really solid package, like a great DD. I'm obviously talking about all the things that I love. I can get to some criticism. I'll just be super real here. So first off, great interior. Like I said, I probably wouldn't spec it with the chalk, with the cream, just because little one plus link, doggos, and this color are kind of a no-no. There are some bits that are a bit plasticky. This little grab bar here right off camera, so that is actually on the Cayenne as well. I typically hold on to that. I'm used to just having my 6-speed, so my right hand now naturally just rests on here to hold on to. I wish that was wrapped in leather. I'm sure you could spec that as an option. I would pay extra for that. So the second thing being pricing. So from the electric version, they have definitely gone up in price. So the base Macan right now, you can get for around that $100,000 mark Canadian. That's around $80,000 to $70,000 US. Does that take away from how good of a driving machine this is? I think you can only judge that as we approach a nice little bend here. Does that detract from some of the nice bendies that you can do? Oh, and it just sticks to the road. It doesn't feel like you're in an SUV. This feels like I'm driving, 911, maybe not a GT3, not as planted, but it gives you that flexibility, that Porsche driving feel, and you have all the usability in the back. You saw me take Link, you saw me take my baby stroller in the back, you saw me take the projector to the house. This is a great daily with the increase of range, with the increase of how fast you can charge these now finally. But yeah, that is my time with the new electric Macan. I will admit a lot of people in town were eyeing this. Spec it with this Aventurine green metallic. It is such a nice color. Get it in this. The tech has been improved, the space inside has been improved, but I will give props to EVs in general have just gotten more accepted. The charging infrastructure has also gotten way, way better. It still has a long way to go, especially here in Canada, especially a bit up north of the city. I've kind of driven it, nonstop, even with spirited driving. We are at 71%, 374 kilometers left in the tank. That's not bad. And I still have more than enough as I change it back to normal now to get back home, to charge this overnight again, even if I wanted to do a quick little pit stop somewhere. Even if I were to commute the next day without charging it, it would still be totally fine. So let me know your thoughts. Electric Macan, should I keep it in the Porsche family? Should the stroller, the baby carrier, you can imagine little baby Karl in the back seat there, should it be this guy? But big thanks to everyone that has sent kind words for the great news for me, for my family. It's that next big chapter. I will still try to keep the content rolling. It might shift. I might become a daddy blogger. Who the hell knows? I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.